Hello again, everyone. Edwin Iron back once again in this YouTube astrological segment. It's going to be, I guess you could say, a historical moment for me because this will be the first YouTube video in which I made a prediction for the U.S. Presidential election. And for the presidential election for 2024, I'm just going to start out by saying who I'm going to predict to win the election. I'm going to take Donald Trump to emerge victorious in this. Some of you, may agree. Some of you may disagree. You're going to have your reasons, but I'm going based on astrological transits to Donald Trump's chart and Kamala Harris's chart. And they're just the transits to Donald Trump's chart are just a little bit more favorable. Just to summarize this, but I'm going to go into the specifics of the aspects, so transit aspects to Trump's chart and Kamala Harris's chart. And now I'm going to start out with Donald Trump's chart. Is that the thing is one thing that stands out. The transit Jupiter is going to be right very close to his natal north node, in which could be very fortuitous for one's destiny, one's future, and he's also going to have it close to his natal sun, at least a loose conjunction to his natal sun, which of course could be very lucky and fortunate in terms of one's life. And the thing about this is another transit to me that stands out. Transit Venus is going to be conjoining Trump's moon at this time in the sign of luck and fortune in Sagittarius. So this could be again another fortuitous transit, because keep in mind the moon has a connection with the public, and it's being publicly recognized. Donald Trump having a Sagittarius moon, I'm sure likes to be recognized as somebody that's very expansive, jovial, jocular, optimistic, and a person that is very upbeat and positive. And the thing about this is Venus is about love, and it could be about getting that love in terms from the public, so to speak, love from the public, so to speak, at this point in time of the election. I am talking about transits that are transpiring on the election, of course. And another thing is that transit Jupiter is going to be making a loose conjunction to Donald Trump's natal Uranus. And some of you may ask, why is that of any significance? Well, again, Jupiter is that planet of luck and fortune. Uranus is connected with elections. So in that sense, I think this could be very positive for Donald Trump in terms of winning this election. And another transit too that's very auspicious, I would say, for Trump is going to be the transit of Uranus. Again, being connected with elections, being in the 10th house, very close to his MC at the time of the election, is going to be, very positive and auspicious for winning this election. I mean, the 10th house is about notoriety and recognition, authority, and you're having the transit of Uranus very close to Trump's midheaven at this point in time of the election. And the thing about this too, another thing for Donald Trump which looks propitious as far as winning the election, not only is that transit of Uranus going to be very close proximity to his 10th house cusp, It's also going to make a sextile to his natal Saturn, and some of you may wonder again, what's significant about that? Well, the fact is, Uranus is connected with elections. Saturn is the government, so it's really, really in where the government, people that are in positions of authority, prominent people in the government, may be supporting Trump enough for him to where it's very favorable for him in terms of this election. And the thing about this too is that transit. Thing that what's interesting will be very compelling. Transit aspects. That transit Pluto and Capricorn is going to make a tight inconjunct aspect to Trump's natal 11th house cusp. And as many of you know, inconjuncts can often be about adjustments in a natal chart. It could be too much or too little of something. And it could indicate that he could be being Pluto in Capricorn, making this transit aspect, tremendous exorbitant support from the government to help, with the election, people in authority. It could be, another thing too, is that it could go the other way. Because again, the inconjuncts, can, could be too much or too little of one or the other. Pluto Capricorn can indicate power in the government, though generational. And again, the 11th house is about election, is connected with elections. So I do see this as him getting, the support, that is needed, from, people that, could help him, could augment his chances, in terms of winning this election. And the next thing I want to talk about, I'm going to talk about Kamala Harris's chart. I'm not saying, there's really no shoo-in for any election, and I do believe, this election is going to be one of the tightest, may go down, may be very historical, may be the tightest, most competitive, closest U.S. presidential election that's ever transpired. Right now, we're at a dead heat pretty much, in the early, the preview, I guess you could say the projections, for the election. It's just very tight right now. For manifold reasons, which a lot of you, I'm sure, understand and know why this could be, very close. Some people have, issues with Trump because they're looking at, the moral aspect of things in electing him. And I think you have other people that may be reluctant to vote for Kamala Harris because it could just be the simple fact that it's a female president, and it's something that would be unprecedented, and also the fact you have people might be apprehensive of voting for her being president because they may feel that she's not going to really deviate or change much from the Biden administration, which would include these elevated prices that we have like in stores. And so the thing is, you have where it's very tight, and people may see Donald Trump as being more advantageous to the country monetarily, where Kamala Harris is more for that for the general the middle class, and maybe more benefits for them. But are the prices, the general economy, how is that going to be with her? So I can understand why this has become a very, tight, competitive election. I would not be like in a state of shock if Kamala Harris won the election. But now, for Kamala Harris, as far as her, the transits go, she actually has, a number of positive, beneficial transits to her chart as well, on the day of this election. And, transits, it's interesting because, Trump's chart and Kamala Harris's chart, mirror each other to some degree. Part of it does because Kamala Harris's ascendant in Gemini is actually very close to Donald Trump's sun in Gemini. So when Donald Trump is getting certain transits to his sun in Gemini, Kamala Harris is getting them near that same time to her Gemini ascendant. Now, the thing about this is with Kamala Harris, she's going to have, the transit Jupiter is going to be close to her ascendant because you have transit Jupiter being close to Donald Trump's natal sun in Gemini. But it's going to be a little further away from Harris's ascendant. So it's kind of like, that's a little bonus for Trump over Harris in that transit, though this still could be very fortunate for Kamala Harris, but transit Jupiter will also be in Kamala Harris's 12th house of restrictions. So that is something to take note of. But the thing about this is transit North Node in Aries. I find this intriguing, compelling transit aspect for Kamala Harris. Transit North Node in Aries is going to be very close conjunction to Kamala Harris's natal 11th house cusp of elections. And, Aries, the sign, being pioneering, being the first in something leadership. So it can bode well for her, and that's part of the reason I think, it's not like I'd be shocked if Kamala won this election. But, anyway, we're going to, the next transit is going to be, we'll talk about transit, Mercury in Sagittarius is going to trine Kamala Harris's 11th house cusp, which could be fortuitous as well. You have Mercury in Sagittarius will be in, voracious, Mercury being in voracious Sagittarius could actually be positive for getting, that truth on these elections, that, the results on this may be a little bit quicker than what we anticipate, but again, I do think it's we're gonna have a delay on it. I don't think we'll know probably till at least the next day the actual outcome. A lot of that due, I believe, to the number of retrograde planets we're going to have, including Uranus, which rules elections, Saturn being connected with the government, and politics. Now, the next thing too is that the natal, her transit Uranus is going to at least loosely conjoin her natal Jupiter in Taurus, which can, be, fortunate, very lucky in terms of an election for her. And that's part of the reason I believe this race will at least be very tight. Kamala Harris losing, I think, in a tight contest. But another transit to take note of too is that the thing which is an adverse transit for I believe on this election day is going to be the transit of Uranus is going to make a loose square to her natal Mars and Leo. And the thing about that is this could give, an unexpected, possibly, adversely affect, the drive and motivation. The Mars and Leo, can become agitated, if one, becomes demoralized somehow, and I don't really see, something like that, happening that extreme with her, because again, I do think it's going to be a tight and competitive, election. But the thing about this is, Uranus is connected with elections, and Mars is associated with one's actions, and I wonder if this, the election result, if it has an adverse effect on one's actions, it could mean that they're going to lose, they may lose that election. And the thing is, Mars and Leo, is driven to dominate. And, the thing is, neither one of these candidates, I really don't think you have to be a medium or psychic to figure that neither one of them is going to dominate this election. again, I do see this in visions, very tight, contested battle between these two. And the thing is, another thing about this is that, the natal, you're looking at, the thing is, looking at the transit of, Venus and Sagittarius, I believe is either at least going to make a loose opposition to her ascendant. So it's kind of like, Venus is about the love, and it's going away. Certain, love of Venus and Sagittarius can manifest in, love of certain beliefs and philosophies, and that is going to be opposing Kamala Harris's, or at least loose opposition to Kamala Harris's Gemini ascendant. And really, I mean, when I look at this overall in summation, again, I do think, Donald Trump has maybe a few more, auspicious transits on the election day, but Kamala Harris has very favorable ones as well. It makes it very, hard to call, even from an astrological perspective or vantage point. But I'm just going to go slightly with Trump. I think he wins this very, very tight race, and people are, and this is going to be probably one of the more watched elections in recent time. People are, I'm sure, very captivated and mesmerized by what's going on in terms of this election right now. And it's understandable, it's historical, because you have Kamala Harris has the opportunity to be, again, the first female president in United States history. Donald Trump is controversial because, right now he's technically, I would say, I believe, convicted felon, having, these, being found guilty on all these counts, felony counts. He has an opportunity to appeal it. I believe he is. I don't know how that works. If the appeal process has started yet, or he's got to wait. He may have to wait to the sentencing, but it's going to be appealed, I'm sure, one way or another. And, the thing is, it just makes it a very compelling, kind of election where a lot of people are going to be really tuned into it. I'm not really one that's really enamored with politics. I really don't know, honestly, an overabundance about, politics and history, and even some of the verbiage that's used, even like the left and right wing thing, was something that I had learned in, relatively, recent time, like maybe 5 years ago or something, to be honest with you. I didn't even know, I don't know if it's called the nomenclature, the verbiage, a lot of this politics. But, the thing is that it's even made me more intrigued, set an election like this. But anyway, people, again, I do predict that Donald Trump will win in a tight election. And, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I'm right, I'm right. It's not, I'm wrong. It's not the end of the world. And certainly, I won't be the only one that will be wrong on this. And, I'm sure you have a lot of people, astrologers out there, predicting Trump will win. You have a number of them that are predicting that Kamala Harris will win. But we will say, and which candidate emerges victorious. It should be, an election for the ages. Anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment. And until next time, Edwin Leonard saying, stay